Hi, this is Amy K. Watson, and I'm talking to you today about how we can improve our communication effectiveness and to look at the habits that we might have that can hold us back from being effective or from developing that skill. When it comes to communication, our communication styles are very much a part of our effectiveness and what holds us back. So you may have heard that some of us have more dominant styles of communication and some have more easygoing styles of communication. Some are more formal in their communication and some are more informal. And you can kind of flex between them depending on the situation. Some situations really call for a more formal style of communication. Some really call for a more easygoing style. And whatever your preferred style of communication might be, there are some drawbacks that can contribute to our ineffectiveness. So in this video, I'm just going to talk about dominant styles of communication and the drawbacks that tend to show up. There's a sense in North American culture that dominant styles are where you would find a leader. So a leader would have a dominant style. That's what we believe. It's not true, by the way. There are leaders who show up with all different kinds of communication styles. So there's no need to tell yourself that you're not a leader because you don't have a dominant communication style. And there's no need to tell yourself that you have to develop a dominant communication style just because you are or want to be a leader. But we have this stereotype that a leader is commanding and has a big, deep baritone voice and commands the room. And some of that might be true, at least some of the time, but it doesn't always have to be. Now, some of the barrier habits that a more dominant communication style tends to be associated with includes dominating the discussion. So if you have a group of 4 people seated around a card table and one person is spending the entire time just running their mouth, and the other people are not participating, you've got somebody who is dominating the conversation. Some people already know that's the trap that they fall into. They've gotten that feedback so often that they know that that's what's going to happen if they are in a group of people. They may feel actually powerless to change that, which is interesting, but it's true. You're not powerless to change it. Another barrier habit is actually discouraging the flow of ideas. So for instance, let's take that example of our 4 people seated around a card table. Maybe they're actually playing cards, who knows? And if one person just says or does something that silences everybody, even if they are silent themselves, if they have done or said something that has prevented people from feeling like they can talk, that's discouraging the flow of ideas, and that is a barrier habit. Another barrier habit that we might see is ignoring your audience's needs or reactions. So for instance, in that experience of somebody dominating the conversation, they may not notice, for instance, that others get up and leave the room, or roll their eyes, or have actively stopped listening, or don't even respond with a smile when they tell a joke. And then finally, not listening. So you don't have to be actively talking in order to fall into this trap. You could just be preoccupied, and any of us really can do this. You don't have to have a dominant style. If you're not listening, you may just be on the inside thinking, wow, that guy goes on forever and does not care what I think. It might be true, but that doesn't mean that you're listening. Okay, so those are just 4 of the barrier habits that can get in the way of communicating effectively. They happen to be most closely associated with a dominant style. Any of us can fall into any of those barrier habits. So, what about you? Do you recognize any of those habits within yourself? Thanks so much for tuning in.